Our government is being run by idiots, a former reality TV host, a former Fox host, and second-rate podcasters. That's not an exaggeration. It's the truth. Their incompetence isn't an accident. It's the point. They want government to fail so you stop trusting it and stop paying attention, even when it comes back to hurt one of their own. Charlie Kirk is just a pawn for them. His assailant is still on the loose because of this administration's failures. Tonight proved it again, as Kash Patel's idiotic stunt only exposed the lies he's been telling. We'll break it all down. But before we do, please leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really helps support our work. Now, let's start with the latest update from Lawrence O'Donnell.
Senator Weissman, let me go first to you with your experience in the FBI and what we just listened to.
Well, in many ways, it is the blueprint that was set in the Boston bombing case, where you have this outreach to the public and the dissemination of information. It was striking to me that that was essentially the purpose of the press conference, was to get that out there to the public so that anybody with information about what he looks like, his T-shirt, his cap, his shoes, his backpack, all of that is something that they're looking for leads, and that obviously is something that the public can and should do. I did want to make a reference to something that people might not know about, because there's been a lot of reporting about having found the gun. And I want to make sure people understand, in this country, it can be very, very difficult to trace a gun to a perpetrator. Unlike a car, where when you have a car, we can know from soup to nuts when it came off the lot and every single owner who had it. That is prohibited in this country. So you can have...
For guns, it's prohibited.
For guns, it is prohibited. You can figure out when the gun was manufactured, but it is very hit and miss if you can trace who has owned it. There are all sorts of loopholes. And so just having found the gun, it obviously can be useful. There can be information there. But it is not the case that there is a record in the same way that you would have for the VIN, the vehicle identification number, for a car, where you know exactly from person to person to person. So I just want to make sure people understand, because of the laws in this country, this investigation, or investigations like it, don't have necessarily the tools that you might have in other countries to do that kind of tracing.
Ken Delaney, we're continuing to run the video that was just released, which in effect was the entire purpose of this press briefing, was really just to release this video that they have been, obviously has been in their possession for quite a while. They were ready to do this apparently much earlier in the day today. Any indication of why this was delayed so long, given, as Andrew says, they wanted to get this information out to the public? They've had it for quite a while. The public could have seen this many, many, many hours ago.
The first 24 hours of an investigation are the most important. And what did Kash Patel do with that time? He lied. He tweeted that they caught the assailant. They hadn't. He backtracked. He posted again. He bungled the investigation because he cared more about likes and publicity than actually doing his job. How long did it take him to even get to Utah? J.D. Vance beat him there. What does he even do in this job? From reports, most of his time is spent at the club. And maybe that's why, when it came time for a press conference, the FBI director had absolutely nothing to say. Kash Patel uttered 0 words. None. 0. The big tough guy, silent. And yet we're supposed to have faith in this administration? We're supposed to trust what they say? This is the same Kash Patel who claimed they'd caught the assailant. False. The same right-wing echo chamber now pushing a made-up story about transgender insignia on the munitions, also false, completely fabricated. These people don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about, and that's exactly the point, because when pressed on what they do know, just listen to this.
I know you can't say too much here, but is it your understanding that this individual may be close by or still in Utah?
We have no idea. We're exploring leads for individuals out of state and individuals that live close by. We literally have persons of interest, tips coming in on the tip line that are spanning far and wide.
No idea. Not a clue. That's this administration's response. And yet, the right demands we apologize. They demand empathy. Empathy. The very thing Charlie Kirk mocked as stupid and damaging. If Republicans want to live by Charlie Kirk's values, fine. Because Charlie Kirk didn't care about hungry kids. He denied millions of children go to bed hungry. He said the real problem was obesity. Pro-life? Please. He told you not to go to college and not to feed your kids. But the number one factor in a child's performance at school isn't race, like he probably would have said. It's whether they had breakfast or lunch that day. A simple meal can change a life. And this man said no. Big government doesn't need to feed kids. So spare me. Spare me the crocodile tears. This administration has no regard for humanity, for life, or even for running its own FBI. Now suddenly it matters because it's one of their own. Sorry, not buying it. Maybe I'm ranting a little, but someone who put it better than anyone was AOC right here.
I mean, I think what has just transpired is tremendously disturbing. It is the latest evolution and instance of political violence in the United States, and it must end.
Congresswoman, what message do you have to your fellow lawmakers regarding the political environment? What message do you have to your fellow lawmakers regarding the political environment and the rhetoric that has been put out in the media?
You know, beyond rhetoric, we need to talk about action, and we need to talk about, yes, there are words, but most importantly, we are in a job of leadership. We are in a job of action. We are in a role and a position where the American people are looking to us to do something about this. And every single day, people are dying due to gun violence in America, and every single day there are people in this building that continue to vote against doing anything. They vote against universal background checks. They continue to support legislation and also remove any way to block the mentally ill, to block extremists, to block people with histories and records of domestic violence from getting guns in their hands. So are we going to do something about this or not? We have a political assassination that happened at the same time as a school shooting where children are dying on the same day, a week after a shooting at a Catholic school where children were gunned down while praying. Are we going to do something, or are we going to argue over rhetoric? That is my question about this. We have to pass gun safety legislation and stop this.
What one congresswoman was saying, was yelling at Republicans, said that it was Democrats' fault. Democrats did this. That's what we're saying.
I mean, people can finger point all they want. Look at the record. Look at the actions of what we are doing. I don't think a single person who has dedicated their entire career to preventing gun safety legislation from getting passed in this House has any right to blame anybody else but themselves for what is happening. We have to stop this. We can stop this. And why don't we start by acknowledging that basic common sense gun safety legislation is not taking away a gun, is not attacking the Second Amendment, but it is about ensuring the safety of our children, of women, of people across this country, to ensure that guns and firearms do not get in the hands of people who are going to use them against human beings.
What a tremendous failure. What an embarrassment. And in the same breath, right-wing hosts and activists tell us to quiet our rhetoric, while they openly declare war on us for wanting to feed children, for wanting health care, for wanting housing. Fine, lock me up. I want public funds to feed and house the public. If that's a crime to them, I'll wear it proudly. It's disgraceful. And we're not going to stop calling them out. If you're with me, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.